Hi, I'm Anna Loza and I'm here with Chandra Velpula and I'm so excited for this conversation. Hi, Chandra.
Hi, Anna. I'm so much for you to take this initiative to interview all of us. You've done a couple of them. I'm so fortunate to meet you in B school.
Yeah, that was such a good
This is-
connection.
yeah.
So tell me, where are you? What are you up to? What's happening in your world?
Yeah, definitely. So I'll tell a little bit about myself.
Hmm.
I'm Chandra Velpula. I live in Boston, Massachusetts. I have two kids, 13-year-old boy and 18-year-old girl, and a husband. So Boston has become, even though I born and grew up in India, Boston has become my hometown, and this is where I feel home. So 10 years, by worldly education, I am an electrical engineer. So I work for a company called Medtronic. But I got put onto a spiritual path many years ago through a living guru in India. So I didn't know anything about a word called spiritual and also the word called meditations. um, Through this power of this Maharshi, that I would, as I was reading books that was written by him, I was very connected with a saint in India called Shirdi Sai Baba. He's like Indian Jesus, they call. He's a saint that helped people on their spiritual journey. He left his physical body in 1918, So even though I grew up in a Hindu family, I was not religious, but I was connected with this saint. I knew I had a connection with this saint, but I didn't know what exactly that connection was. So years passed by. Many years ago, somebody was given me some books written by my living guru, Siddhaguru Ramanananda Maharshi, his name. And I kept, in busy life, I kept the books aside. So it's like, as a mom gives a timeout for the kids, I was given a timeout period. All I could do was read those books. So I started to read those books. Three things came into my awareness. One was, I was literally waiting for the books. These were the books I was meant to read. And the second thing, the saint I was connected, I actually had $1, that's the Saint Shirdi Sai Baba. I realized my connection with him was a guru in previous lifetimes. And the third thing that came up with was, nobody has done this amount of research on Shirdi Sai Baba. Nobody has given these simple teachings. And Maharshi had a lot of divine love. It was outpouring love in those books for Shirdi Sai Baba, which deeply touched me. So 3-4 years I spent reading those books. And one time he has given a 9-day diksha, like a practice period, during which he asked us to read a certain book. And he also asked people to maintain silence. At that time, I didn't know what silence meant. I could never be in silence for even a minute. So I told my husband about it, and he's like, I wish you could do that. I get some break. So on the first day I woke up, in my many years of my life, 30 years of my life, I was never a morning person. All of a sudden, on the first day of the 9 days, I woke up and I started to read this book. Unknowingly, I fell into a meditative state. So that's how meditations came into my awareness. And I started to see tremendous changes internally and externally. So I hold on to them very tight. um, First and foremost was, I had a hypothyroid problem. A thyroid makes people lethargic. Metabolism goes down. People their own characteristic changes. You get to tend to get angry. Your emotions change with the hormonal changes that are happening. So through these meditations, my thyroid came back to perfect normal. So that was exciting for me to even hold on to them even more tighter. But my commitment was every day morning for half an hour. And I would wake up at 4:30 before everyone woke up. Nobody was looking for me. Nobody was asking me coffee. Nobody was asking me change the diaper, things like that. I would sit for these meditations, and I call them as a one-on-one meditation with my soul. one-on-one meeting, just like in offices how we have one-on-one meeting, like right now we are having one-on-one meeting. I call those as a one-on-one meeting with my heart. At that time, I would make sure I would not bring any thoughts related to my family, related to my office. So that was my commitment, my investment, half an hour a day. And that's changed tremendously everything around me. And the last 3 years, I was some few people have told me I was meant to share these teachings with everyone. I'm like, no, I'm enjoying too much in myself. I don't want to do that. But it so happened in the office there was changes happening. One of my colleagues was going through some problems, so I would share those teachings people unknowingly that are in need, and I would see them getting benefited. Last 1 year or so, I started to offer more formally. And then with B School, I just founded a company called Sacred Space, Discover Sacred Space Within You, through these meditations. So now, and then last December, being in Boston, it's snow time. Until that time, I was doing only in-person classes. One day it snowed so much, one of my students sent me a message, I really want to meditate with you, Chandra, but I can't because it's snowing and I can't come, the roads are slippery. Guess what? Right in that day, on the same day, somebody told me about Zoom. I went and tried, and so we usually do an hour and 15 minutes. So I had to schedule like 2 minutes. The free Zoom was like 45 minutes. In the first few sessions, one of my friends said, Chandra, can I buy you the package? I was like, no, let me get it. So now I offer meditations to anybody that is interested sincerely to explore their inner avatar, to deeply understand their inside. It's an inward journey. It's not outward journey. It's not even the mind. It's beyond the mind. So I don't use the word mindfulness.
Yeah, that's such a good point, that it's beyond the mind. So let's not use the word mindfulness. I love that. Yeah. So when you said, this intrigued me when you said, so when I went to sit for these meditations, I tried to make sure that I didn't bring any thoughts of my family or my office. So tell us, how does one do that?
So what they could cultivate is initially, the way I picture myself was this half an hour time, just like when you do a one-on-one meeting with the manager in the office. You will not bring anything, right? Anything to you. You're very focused on your manager, right? You want to get what his goals are. You want to understand, you want to align yourself to him. So just like that, the manager or the CEO for this life is your soul. So yes, you want to align, you want the mind to align to the soul or to the heart. Those people who don't believe soul, they can visualize as a heart. So for me, I visualized as the saint I connected with, because I could never understand what soul meant at the time. It doesn't really matter. But if you hold on to a saint that's high powerful, what happens is, as you connect deeply with him, all the pure qualities that he acquired, all the good qualities he acquired, those start to flow into you. That's the best part of it.
Can you tell us a little bit about what changed in your life specifically once you started devoting this time to these one-on-one soul meetings?
Yep. Yes, definitely. So what changed in my was, first I said hypothyroid, right? So I got rid of the thyroid, and my husband didn't believe it. He said, I need to see the report. So I called the doctor and I said, do the report. And before I went in, I said, let me get my results. And sure enough, it was perfect. The TSH level is perfect, normal. That was the major thing, And the second thing I also realized was, if people are getting angry on me or emotional on me, I was not entertaining them. I was not letting them come inside. Okay. By not letting them come inside, what's happening is I'm able to pour unconditional love on them. Like suppose my husband got mad at me for something, that I did, that he didn't like. So the next minute he would ask me to make a coffee. So if I took that anger, I would be literally serving him a poison in the form of that anger. So one thing, it happens naturally as you it's not that something you make an effort for the anger to go away. It happens naturally. That's the best part. As you hold on to these meditations so tightly, everything that you don't need drops off.
Mm-hmm.
Third thing was, everything around me started to flow effortlessly. It's not that everything was given in a silver spoon. It doesn't matter whatever bucket life brings me or puts me into, I am able to swim through effortlessly. Let me give an example. Recently, at the time I got laid off, and everybody was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry you got laid off. I'm like, why are you feeling sorry? This is perfect, amazing timing. And my husband was forcing me to apply for jobs, and friends were forcing me. I said, I just need to think about it, what my next step is. By doing that, by not entertaining what others are telling me, oh sorry, that's a really not a good emotion you want to put into your system. I was able to open to the high divine plan. I was giving myself, opening up to the high plan that I had for me. And that plan had larger benefits than I could ever imagine. At that time, I was not at all interested in job, but I kept asking, whatever the step, whatever the turn I was meant to take, I should never miss that turn. So when this job came up, all of a sudden my mind changed. I started to answer the questionnaire. When I went and met my hiring manager, one thought came to me, that that man needed my help. Sure enough, I went and joined. And later on, I've been there more than 4 years. I realized most of the connections I made there were meant to make, as if I knew them before. That's the other thing. The another important thing that happened was, your 1 point focus changes tremendously. Right now, you see how we are like so distracted, you can't really focus on things. If I took a break, lunch break, half an hour, and I did go into my car and meditate for half an hour, I come back, my rest of the day is like super productive. Guess who benefited? My company, my team. So it's like it has become like contagious, that energy, that whatever you're it's like cleansing, it's like a deep cleanse happening, and you're letting the whole divine pour through you, that high power. So that's other thing that I saw. And the third thing was attachment with kids, attachment with certain things. It started to dwindle by itself. It's not, a lot of people talk about letting go of self-doubt and things like that. One of the uniqueness, that's what Murray talks about, right? What is that you're bringing to the, what is that unique quality? The unique quality here is, unlike the worldly education, something related to the mind and soul is always a pass down from self-realized masters. It's a gift to the world from self-realized masters. Since these were given to me by a self-realized master, and his resolve to make these go through me, it's tremendous. People see that. People, when they do meditation by themselves, they won't even able to sit quiet in the mind even for 1 minute. When they come and sit, they forget the time. They sit for an hour. Even in their first session, they are like, oh my God, 1 hour happened. And you can see some of the reviews on my Facebook page. That's what I'm currently using to increase the awareness of it.
Great. We're going to link that in this interview. So definitely who's listening and
yeah. And I have 2 students, and I offer globally, thanks to the technology. Zoom is a great tool. If we didn't have Zoom, we won't be talking, together. So I offer one-on-one sessions with a student in London, with a student in California, with a student in Australia. It doesn't matter. We all get connected, At I really want to make other thing. When you best analogy I can give is, every day we wake up, we brush our teeth. Nobody tells us to do that, right? Nobody tells. There is something you're cleaning, and we give a bath to our body. Nobody tells us that it happens. We give a shower to our hair. Nobody tells us that it happens. But the mind is constantly picking information through the 5 senses throughout your awakened time. But Where is this? Who is teaching us to cleanse this? How to cleanse? Nobody knows. So one is to cleanse. And the second thing is we feed our body 3 times or 4 times a day, but we are not nourishing our mind. We're not. Once in a while we do. When we listen to the music, you can kind of go into that mode, but it's a fraction of a second. But when we go into a meditative state, you're going beyond these 5 senses. That's where this one-on-one connection happening, beyond these 5 senses. And that's the second thing. Third thing I talk about is every day, from the time we are born to the time we die, we sleep every day. If we don't sleep 2 days, you know how we feel, right? But people don't recognize these unwanted emotions are coming from because you're not giving rest to the mind. Once they commit to these sessions, they will see that cleansing, that nourishment, and that rest. You only have to hold on to these meditations for some period of time. Then the mind will turn around and say, come on, let's meditate. So yeah, so that's the unique thing that I bring.
That's fantastic. So is it possible to transmit a little bit of this meditative experience to us right now in a couple minutes here?
Sure.
Okay, let's take maybe like just a couple minutes and see.
Yeah, definitely. So
Awesome.
let's do, I chant, it goes into, I chant Om 3 times. We should have actually started our session with Om, but that's fine. I'm glad you brought this up. Let's close our eyes and chant Om 3 times together. So there's Om chanting happens and the breathe out. Did you see how powerful those were, Anna?
Yeah. I love your voice.
Yeah. Then and one thing I say is, it's not me doing it, it's the divine doing through me. So that's very, very important for my own journey. If that was one thing when I decided to do it, I have to make every effort that it's happening through me, not by me. Not doing it. So I don't want any ego to come and interfere with my own spiritual practice.
That's so potent, just to hold that intention as a transmitter, as a facilitator, that we don't bring our personality, our ego into the interaction as much as possible. And then we do our personal work on the side that helps us to go beyond that ego and that personality, so that when we come to our session with someone that we're facilitating, because we're able to facilitate to the depth and at the level that we ourselves have gone to.
Right.
So the deeper that we go, the deeper that we can facilitate for someone as well.
So the other thing I talk about is relationship between the prana. Prana is the life energy. Your own breath is your life energy. If there is no breath, if person stops taking breath, he's dead, right? The dead body doesn't breathe. So when the breath stops, that's it. You're done. That's it. That's why Murray even said, everybody has to go there one day. Why not utilize it? So the prana, the life energy, the breath is very, very important. The mind and the soul. So there is 3 things. One is the prana, the breath, and the mind and the soul or the heart. These 3 trigger each other. Like I said, the CEO for it is the soul. So the mind has to get instructions from the soul. But in the beginning stages, those who are not on the path, oftentimes, those even who are on the path, sometimes the mind can say, hey, I am the boss. Let me give instructions to the soul. So I work a little bit. I give 4 simple techniques to cleanse the prana. Because if the prana is wavering, the breath is wavering, it influences the mind. You see, when you go through certain emotions, your breath is varies. So one of the things I talk about is synchronizing that breath with the sound of home. You know, when you don't have time, when you're driving and things like that, synchronize the breath. So I teach 4 simple techniques on the prana shuddhi. They are called prana shuddhi prakriya. Prana means the life energy. Shuddhi means cleansing. Prakriya means the techniques.
Mm.
So there are 4 temple. Then we go into the main meditation. So in the main meditation is where, and the other important thing and the unique thing I bring is you want to make a friendship with the mind. You're not stopping the thoughts. You don't want to stop the thoughts. If you try stopping the thoughts, your mind will rebel against you. You don't want to make your mind rebellious. You want to make a friendship with your mind. So that's what really touched me. And so in order to do that, one of the things that I can tell is during the meditation, if thoughts occur, a lot of people think that's bad. It's okay, thoughts will occur. The reason I use is the teachings I teach, because these are come from a self-realized master. Many lifetimes we had so many impressions and vasanas piled up in our subtle body. So, as you broom sweep it, all the dust comes up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So as you are cleansing it, these things start to pop up. So you never want to shut them down, but you want to witness them. If you just um, establish yourself into a practice of witnessing your thoughts, that can bring a tremendous change in you. That's a very, very simple technique. When you're eating something, just witness the person that's eating. When you're showing love on somebody, witness the person that's showing love.
Mm-hmm.
When you're cooking is the another thing that I bring up is most important. And also Maria asked, who are you not serving? I don't serve kids. This is not for kids. And a lot of people ask me for teenagers. Maybe in future I will offer, but for now, my ICA, my ideal student avatar, not the customer avatar, is 20 plus. Any woman or man 20 plus. And I focus more on inside. When parents come in and they practice this, what happens is as they become purified, they are going to purify inside, and they discover that sacred space inside them. Mm-hmm. So that's why I named Discover Sacred Space Within You. It actually has a 2 heart symbol, and so that's where they connect with the hearts, the one-on-one relationship with the heart comes in, and they discover that sacred space inside them first, within you. Once they discover, wherever they are, if they are in the house, that house gets sacred space. Your energy, wherever you meditate, you're going to fill all that space with those rays. So that's going to transform. You go to work, that's going to transform. So that's the reason I picked the sacred space. It resonated with me. And then guess what? When you're cooking with love. That's the most important thing. Remember I said, if I give somebody a coffee with a bad emotion, I'm literally serving a poison to them. And their inner strength is going to go up. One time I got angry, and then I realized, oh geez, I just depleted the energy I earned through my meditations. Within few seconds in the discourse that my Maharshi gave, he was talking about that exact same thing. And I can never forget that day. And I would never get mad again. And people don't realize what's happening when you get angry, Deep inside you will experience that.
So tell us a little bit, what happens when we get angry?
So through meditations, what happens is, through meditations, when you discover, you will realize 2 things. One is the person that getting angry kind of died down, It's like inside you, there is 2 beings. One is called Punya Purusha, means the person that does all good deeds. Another is called Papa Purusha, really bad guy, all bad deeds. And beyond these, There is a Mahapurusha, and we are trying to connect with him. That's the soul. So as you get angry, two things, as you hold on to these meditations, one thing you will realize is you won't be in a reactive mode. You won't get angry. Even certain times, as women, we go through some hormonal changes, or even some days you get angry, you will realize right away. You realize you just decrease that energy that you earn through your meditations. Yeah. That's a most powerful experience. When that happens, you will never get angry. It's not that somebody is telling, don't get angry, don't get angry. It's you, inside you, telling you, geez, you wasted all that energy you earned through your committed meditations.
It's like a profound coming into a self-mastery, a self-respect, a self-love. I like to, we talk about self-care. I like to talk about sacred self-care, which is like the care of the sacred self, of the soul.
Yeah.
So it's like
Right, exactly. What your initial journey, like for you and me, it's that. But for the people who are embarking on this journey, it's like they need to discover their inner avatar. How does their emotions look like? How do their thoughts look like? Not with the five senses. You go beyond the five senses and discover. Once you reach, you kind of passed, and you know what happens, and you get that rhythm of connecting with your heart. That's when these past impressions start to come up. So by purifying, by establishing that sacred space inside you, your love, it becomes pure love. So when I first started, I didn't know, so, and I would sit in a meditation, and some poems come out of me. They were connected to my guru. They're like, I would sit, and those poems would just come. I just could not understand what those poems, why are they coming? They will talk about unconditional love, pure love, boundaryless love. It's like, oh, what is this? Then I went back and connected with my own life. Sometimes when I volunteer in a church or somewhere, you kind of see moms, they give a little extra love to their own kid than the other kids. And oftentimes I wonder, is it possible to give the same amount of love to your kid and other mom's kid? That's where you don't differentiate that attachment falls down. And this love, your inside has, like I said, the good guy and the bad guy, the one beyond. The one beyond doesn't judge. There's no good or bad for him. You become one with the divine. You become one with the divine. And that's where you connect. So it's like a king, right? You are in a kingdom. Once you are like, the king loves you, you are given anything you want, right? So it's all unlimited. That's where the infiniteness comes in.
I love that. Yeah, to connect with beyond good or bad, right and wrong, beyond judgment, and just.
Yeah, that's the duality they call in Indian Sanskrit, in the Vedic terms, they call Advaita. Dvaita means duality. Advaita means non-duality. You become one that. So when one of my friend asked me many years ago, before I embarked, she asked me, do you know Advaita? I'm like, no, I don't want to know. So yeah, I'm very, like, in my heart it pours out, that the journey the divine took me on, and they were holding me so tight for a long time, and I'm so extremely happy for the time out period I had. And with all this, who is benefiting? Not only me, family, kids, husband, my co-workers, anybody. My office, in the present office, I work for a company called Medtronic. They are outsourcing the production to Mexico, and some people are affected. And they have given enough time. They give a good layoff package and things like that. It hasn't ended. This was last October when they first disclosed the news. I just saw people emotions, and I felt how grateful I am, and my mind was so quiet. 8 months into it, I haven't still updated my resume yet. There is something inside me telling I needed to be there to land. Guess what happened? They were supposed to close in January. It got pushed out to April. Everybody left in my team, 7 people. I hired 3 more, and then now it got pushed out April to July.
Mm.
It's not that it's a benefit, but in your heart it comes out. You flow through that life effortlessly. It
Mm.
doesn't matter what situation is being put into. For many people, it's they go through emotional crap when they get laid off. Can you imagine what they are doing to their system through that? When they are going through that kind of thing in their system, how are the people around them are being affected?
Yeah. Well, it almost reminds me of what you were talking about with anger, how when we get angry, it's all that energy that we've cultivated, it gets almost like poured out with no care. So it's like watering plants with intention with that energy versus just spilling the bucket. So, and it's the same with this kind of roller coaster of emotions of worrying in this way or that way. It's exhausting. I mean, I
Yeah.
think a lot of people can just feel that it's exhausting to live that way, and I think that's why a lot of people now there's this revolution of seeking the technique and being ready to hear and to embody a technique that brings us into that focus towards the divine, towards
Yeah.
like a still, a calm experience within ourselves.
Right now I think a lot of people don't connect with the divine, so I don't even use the divine. It's your journey. Use your journey. How did you come? How did you take the birth? There is something that put you on this. You come with an expiration date. Right?
Yeah.
You just don't know when that expiration date. A lot of food products has an expiration date, but this one that you feed doesn't know. It come anytime. Right?
Yeah.
We do come with an expiration date, but it's just unknown.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. That's why it just I'm so that's where I was like, even though I hesitate for a while to embark on this journey, I I decided to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Um, so what are you offering? Can people come to you and have like a private meditation session via Zoom?
So what I do is I live in Massachusetts, but I serve all over the world. You know, my living guru, he's in India in Hyderabad, but his books all were written in a language called Telugu. I will tell you this one connection. All my life, I wondered why was I born into a Telugu speaking family? You know, because when I studied, I went to college, I started to use English. When I came to US 18 years ago, English became my major language. A lot of Indian families start to send their kids to learn that language, but I never sent because I could never understand what is the purpose of Telugu in my own life. But when I read his books, that's when I realized I needed Telugu. So
Mm.
one of my goal is to translate those books. So I started offering as a free. Then I do right now a donation based sessions. The goal is to use that money to translate those books so that English speaking audience can benefit from these. Um, with that, I want to tell you there is one book we published in 2016. I don't know how do we say it? You can't really see. So this is my living guru. This is called New Guide to Become One with Paramashiva.
Mm.
2016, he gave us 18-day silence meditations, and he kept some rules in that during that time. One was Hindus often put a lamp, so he outside like a tea candle or something. He said, "Don't lit lamp outside. When you lit a soul lamp, you don't need external lamps." I said, I loved it. I don't have to wash anything. I don't need to buy candles. This is awesome. The second thing he said was, don't take dips in a holy places, holy rivers. When you dip in your own soul,
Mm.
you don't have to dip anywhere else. So I said,
Right.
this is amazing. And then there were so those all rules are published in this book, and this is published in Amazon. And I'm just sharing my own experience in those 18 days. There was one rule he said: you cannot think about any name and form of a saint you are connected or guru you connected with. He was trying to make everybody go beyond, connect to that infinite, connect to that oneness. And I wasn't ready at that time because I was very connected with the name and form of this saint, Shirdi Sai, and name and form of my own guru. So I said, okay, this is not for me. I am not doing these meditations. I'm not participating. But there was two women, one in Oregon and one in Seattle. They came to know about it. When I shared the rules with them, they got super excited. These two women were on a spiritual journey for a long time, 30 long years in this life. And they got super excited and they told me nobody has done this kind of practice so far. This is super important. So there were 4 1-hour sessions every day for the 18 days. That's how he started. Morning 2 sessions, evening 2 sessions in India, which meant night 2 sessions, morning 2 sessions here. And it was in August 2016. I was supposed to move to a second shift. From March onwards, I tried to move my shift to second shift, but it did not happen. On the first day of an 18-day session, it happened by itself. You see how like my surroundings were being conducive for as if I was meant to participate. And these two women, they looking their excitement. I'm like, oh my God, let me do at least 2, Sorry. So I did session 1 and 4. One was 10:30 night Eastern time, and one was 8:30 in the morning. And he would do an Indian channel, and I would meditate. When I sat down the first day, first session, there was a high power that came with a sword and chopped off the name and form I had. Chopped off. And 18 days, I could not think any name and form. It felt like I was taken to a vacation beyond, something beyond a Disney World, something beyond a cruise you can ever imagine that not many are capable of taking us. And first 13 days, he didn't have any restriction on the food. The last 5 days, he had a restriction on the food. He said instead of eating 3 times, eat 2 times. Instead of 2 times, eat 1 time. Instead of 1 time, take milk and fruits. And last day, water. And then last one, he called Vayu Bhakshana. Vayu means air, Bhakshana means eat. When I heard that word, this is very Sanskrit. It's like ancient rishis use that word. And that excited me. And I took the last 3 days off. And he increased the hours from 4 to 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 hours. Can you imagine meditating of the 12 or some hours you are awake? And they were like overlapping. One session is overlapping with another. On the 16th day, it was as if an energy was being poured into me. And I could not do any work. And then I realized that's the reason I had to take my time off. And then 18 days done, and I realized there is high power, infinite power, that oneness, or the Father, the Jesus calls, or Shiva, English call, that controls everybody's emotions. That's controlling. So you have to see the truth beyond emotions of it. And after the 18 days is done, it felt as if there's like, you take a bowl and cook rice, you burn it, it becomes burn and it gets stick to the bowl. It's like a steel bowl. You scrape it with a knife, you scrape it, scrape it, scrape it. It was like something is scraped off from me. Scraped and scraped. I was like literally, I was feeling cleansed. That's when I realized what he was talking about, bathing in the soul. And 5 days after the session, my phone broke down. And it cracked in such a way, wherever my passcode was, that's where it broke down. So I could not unlock and I could not use my phone for 2 or 3 days. There was no single thought in me. Either I have to check my WhatsApp, my Facebook, our phone, email, nothing. There was no thought. That's when I realized what this and I still long for those. I asked him if he could do last year, and he didn't do them. And then one more thing I want to talk about how this book came to life. These two women that were participating, I was doing session 1 and session 4. So my friend calls me and she says, Chandra, after the second session, Maharshi daughter in TV is delivering some message, and I feel that's a very, very important. And I was like, okay. I wanted to help her, so I would put my alarm and I would record the message and I would go to bed. Next day, I would call her up and tell her, and she would become ecstatic, like a baby. She would feel happy. This is like a tremendous message. And these two women, at that time, I didn't have any contact with him much, but they came up with this idea: we need to publish this as a book. So these 18 messages are published this as a book. And then the back also written by one of the lady. She hasn't met Maharshi, but she came up with all the wording. They came up with the title. Everything was done by them. And then when we were done, a guy came, designed the cover, and then Maharshi came and gave his blessings to publish. And we published this in June of 2017. So I will send you a book, like with my, as a token of love, appreciation for doing this to me.
Thank you so much. I'm so inspired to read it. This whole time speaking with you, I feel like I'm in a session with you. Like my whole energy is shifted just being in presence with you and listening to you speak. And you just have such a lightness, and the way that you're ready to laugh and to smile, I can feel the depth that you've penetrated to.
Yeah, it's his resolve to flow through me. It's not me. That's what the self-realized master does, and he is coming to US in the month of May. He will be offering some sessions here, so I'm super excited for that.
That's fantastic. It sounds like this approach, I really resonate with this, because it's, how he was saying, just forget the name of your guru, forget this, just connect directly with soul. Like no middlemen, nothing in the middle. It's just you and spirit, you and divine source. And yeah.
But only you need him for a certain period of time until you are ready to hold on. That highness is a very subtle, it's hard to grasp. I wasn't ready for the highness. I kept telling, no, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I'm not ready for you, Shiva, but I'm being pushed. So that's where he came up with this 3-tier approach. The first one is anybody that your favorite God or your favorite guru or anybody that's not in the form. For people like Jesus, he's not in the form. Ramana Maharshi, he's not in the form. People like that, they're called Paramaguru. Then another person, the second tier is a living guru, is a person living. That with the person that with the physical body, it's more easy to trust. But a person at the invisible also easy, but the person that's receiving has to be capable. If they're not capable, that's when you need the living guru. And then he talks about the Adi Guru, which is that oneness or the infinite or the highness. That's your first guru. Their goal in the 2 tiers is to push you to that level. And I said, I don't want to go, but he literally pushed me and I have no choice.
This is so fantastic, Chandra. I'm so grateful that you are bringing this vibration, bringing this message, and that you're doing sessions by donation. This is such an incredible opportunity for people to work with you, and I'll definitely make sure that we have all the links here for people that are interested. Thank you so much for telling us your story and for agreeing to this interview. This was phenomenal. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. For anybody that's interested, I'm very passionate about helping. I do one-on-one sessions with Zoom. I do group sessions, I also do full moon, suppose I have it tomorrow. That's one thing I realized. One of the article I published, I'll send you, or you can include that in yours too, is how I recognize the energies of the full moon, in my own journey. So I offer every week on the full moon session. So tomorrow,
fantastic.
Yeah, I do have a full moon session. I thank you so much. I appreciate you are my first interviewer.
Thank you.